Good vibes are on the way.
I love the feel-good stories.
Oh, there'll be sarcasm mixed in, but that just adds to her charm.
So great. I love listening.
Welcome to Erin O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency.
Hi, welcome to Erin O'Malley's Feel Good Frequency. I'm Erin. It is so great to have you here. I decided that this episode is going to be more of what I would call a water cooler episode, where I share some feel-good stories that I have found over the last couple weeks that made me smile, and I think that they will do the same for you. You know, maybe you're at work, you see a coworker that's kind of bummed out, tell them one of the stories. A friend, a family member, or, you can always have them just listen to the podcast, because the more, the merrier. I am in all black right now because I just came from a funeral of somebody I had never met before. This is the first story. Before I get to it, there's some background on it. So there's a gentleman, he was 98 years old. He's a World War II veteran, and he passed away in Massachusetts recently, and he has no living relatives that anyone knows of. And so there was a call out to the community that if you could attend the funeral today, Monday, at 11 a.m., it would be very appreciated. And so I had planned on doing it right when I heard about it. A couple days ago, it was on the news. So I posted it on my social media. And the next day, I saw it was posted by somebody that I have such respect for. Perhaps you've heard of him. His name is David Bonneau. Probably seen him on CBS. He's an Emmy award-winning storyteller and has a podcast that is spectacular called The Person Who Believed in Me. Put it this way, his first guest for it was Oprah. So, I mean, kind of a big deal. And he posted about this on his social media, and I thought that was really cool that he had even heard of this story. So I wrote underneath it, I'm going to this funeral, and I really love that you've heard about it and you're sharing the story, because he's got so many, like over 1 million followers. So the more people that know about something like this, the more that can show up. So I thought that was so great that he shared it. And then he wrote under my comment, "You're going, will you please message me?" So I did, and we talked a little bit back and forth, and I ended up being his first person recap of what happened today. And I decided to shoot my shot with him while we were chatting. And I asked if he would be on my podcast at some point. And he said he would love to speak with me. So David, I'm going to hold you to that, buddy. All right. So on to what happened today. His name is John Bernard Arnold III. And there was a call put out to the community to please show up at his funeral service if you're able to. So I got there about an hour early, and when I pulled up, they had streets blocked, police detail, even an electronic sign that said funeral today, expect delays. And I was overwhelmed thinking, oh my gosh, that's how many people they're expecting at this service for a gentleman that had no living relatives. This is going to be something I will never forget. And wow, it turned out to be that for sure. So I parked my car and I went to the church, and there is a line already formed. Again, this is a good half hour before just the viewing and over an hour before the services. There's at least 100 people in line. And I took pictures of the line and just looked around and was smiling so big, because all I could think is, this is who we are. We are there for each other. We are human beings who cheer each other on. That's what we always have been. And that's what I feel like we need to find a way to get back to. But being in that line and seeing all of these fellow Americans just taking time out of their day for somebody they did not know who served this country so honorably so many years ago, I was speechless. More and more people just kept coming and filling the line. And finally, we went into the actual church to pay our respects. It was an open casket. And when I got up to him, I looked down and I just kind of tapped the casket and said, "You have no idea how many people are here giving you love. Like, I wish wherever you are, you could see this because it is breathtaking. And so I sat back down. The church ended up being packed. Now, I later found out it is a church with 600 people capacity. There were not only people all throughout the church, but then in the, I want to say, like, vestibule area, the lobby area where it was just all glass windows, that was filled with people too. There were so many different armed forces represented there that the priest actually joked and said, "Is there anybody from the Space Force? Because everyone else is here." And there wasn't anybody from the Space Force today, but every other branch was represented so beautifully. There were police officers, firefighters, first responders, state troopers, and so many of them. But what really just blew me away was looking at all of the different regular people like me there. Moms bringing kids, dads, grandparents. These people were all there to honor somebody they had never met on a Monday morning. And I love that. I loved seeing that kind of support. It put me in tears. What really did it for me was watching these 4 older gentlemen, all in uniform, walk over to the casket together and salute this gentleman. I had to borrow tissue from the woman sitting next to me because I was a mess just seeing that kind of kindness and honor. And later on the news today, they had interviewed some veterans, and the veterans said, "We were so amazed at how many civilians showed up. We figured for sure there would be other veterans, but to see just everyday people taking time out of their lives was really something." After the church service, I followed along in the procession to go to the cemetery, which was many towns away. I want to say 5 towns we went through, something like that. Police detail at every stoplight. It was a lot. And to be at the cemetery, they had a bagpiper. They always make me cry. And then all of these different veterans standing with their own American flags to honor him. There was a gun salute, and they draped a huge American flag over the casket. 2 naval officers folded the flag and then gave it to the gentleman who ran the veterans home that he lived in until he passed away. And I got to tell you, it was an emotional day, but it also gave me such faith back in humanity. If you are starting to lose that a little bit, look for something like this that you can be part of, because I promise you it will make a huge difference in how you see just everyday people. Because I think we're all trying to do our best. As far as any of us know, this is the first time we've all been on the planet. And I know that everything is so polarized right now, but there are some events, some circumstances where all of the loudness just dissipates. And this was one of them. People also say if you want to see humanity, go watch a marathon or run in one. And I've done both. And yes, that is something to be seen. But this was like nothing I've ever been part of. It was really special and something I'll never forget. But I wanted to be able to remember all of the details and tell you right away, which is why I'm still in the black dress that I wore. So on to some other stories that hopefully will make you smile today. This one is out of Daytona Beach, Florida. There's a police officer who noticed that a dog was having a really hard time on hot pavement, walking with its owner. So the officer went over, started chatting with the owner, and inspected the dog's paws, and then said, "You know what, I'm going to come back. If you're going to be walking in this area, just try to keep the dog on grass, just not on this hot pavement." So the officer left, used his own money to buy booties for this dog, little boots for the dog, so cute. Came back and gave it to the owner along with some donated treats and toys that they had back at the police station, and gave all of that to the pup and his human. But what was great about it is that his body cam was recording the whole time, and he ended up using that to kind of put a PSA out for the community. Just remember that this pavement is way too hot on most days. I mean, this is Daytona Beach. Way too hot on most days for your pet. So if you can't keep the dog on grass or maybe sand, please make sure that the dog's paws are protected, or walk the dog super early in the morning or later in the day when it's not as hot. But I thought that was such a great thing for him to do, because not only did he use his own money to get booties for the dog, but he also made it a lesson, a way to let the community know and just remind everybody that it's just really dangerous, and maybe you're not thinking of it for the dog, but it is. And this goes without saying, but so is leaving a dog in a car. Please, I see this all the time, every single summer, and it is maddening. So many people end up calling the police, as they should, if there is a dog in a hot car. And yeah, we can't have any of that. So please, just, I know I love being with the pups too, but got to leave them at home on especially the very warm days, because it might be 90 outside. In that car, it's over 110, 120 degrees. It's way too hot for the dog. My favorite is, there was a gentleman who brought his dog with him somewhere, left the car running with the AC and Fleetwood Mac to listen to, with a note that said, "Please don't break my windshield. The dog is fine and in AC, and I'm coming right back out." Now, I don't recommend doing that, but if you got to, that's the way to go. The next story, maybe you heard of this one. It happened, I want to say 2 months ago. There's an 88-year-old gentleman. His name is Ed, and he was still working. He's a veteran, and he said when asked that he just didn't have the money to retire. And everything's more expensive these days, and so he had to get a job. And there is a social media kindness influencer. This guy, his name is Samuel, and he is remarkable. He goes all around the world, really, helping people, setting up GoFundMes for those that really could use finances for something specific. And he happened to meet up with this guy working at a Meijer, which, if you don't know what Meijer is, oh, I miss Meijer. It's kind of like a Walmart. It's a spectacular superstore. So Samuel sets up this GoFundMe page for Ed. It raises almost $2 million. It was unbelievable. He's finally able to retire, and I love that for him. But Ed's a great guy. He wanted to find a way to help other veterans with this great fortune that just came to him. So he got back together with Samuel, and they began a 50 veteran, 50 state GoFundMe project, where a veteran has been nominated from every state in the country, and a GoFundMe is going to be set up, or actually I think already is, for that veteran in that state. And Edward kicked it off by, I guess, jump-started it by donating $1,000 to every single GoFundMe in this project. And oh my gosh, I love that, because it's not only a story about somebody who really could have used the help. He got it and then wanted to help others immediately. And those are my kind of people. I love, love, love that. So I hope that story made you smile as well. Oh, so the next one, this was just so people being in the right place at the right time. There's a gentleman that teaches CPR, and he ended up having a cardiac arrest in front of his students, who initially thought that Carl, is his name, was acting to make sure that they would know what to do in this circumstance. But then when the students were really looking at him, they realized he could not be acting. This is really happening. And it was. So they immediately started CPR. They called 911. Carl had a Widowmaker, which, if you have ever heard of it, done any research on it, it is one of the worst things that you can have, because it's usually deadly. It kind of creeps up on you, and it is really, really dangerous. You can go in an instant with that, and they saved his life. So if that isn't right place, right time, I don't know what is. Thankfully, he was a good teacher, because they were able to save his life with what they had just learned in class. Wow. So there's a startup company in South Korea that has begun something that can help all over the world, and I hope it does. The company's called EcoPeace, and they started a solar power boat that, while it is transporting passengers, is also cleaning up the waterway. It can purify up to 100 tons of water per day. It takes out pollutants, oils, algae. And I saw this and thought, oh my gosh, this can be something that, if it continues to do as well as they're doing with it so far, can completely change our waterways. And it's so necessary. Truly, I love that something like this exists and they're finding success with it already. More of this, please. Okay, here's another. So there's a 3-year-old boy in Illinois who has a very rare genetic condition. His name is Bedford. I love that name. And his family has shared their journey with him online. And they really wanted to make sure that there was an accessible playground that he could grow up using in the community. They caught the attention of a company called Unlimited Play. And together, they have raised about $500,000 to make this playground a reality. How great is that? They broke ground for it already, and they're in the process of building it, which is spectacular. And I love, love, love that Bedford is going to be able to play with the other kiddos. And so many other kids after him will be able to enjoy it as well. Inclusive is the way to go. I leave you with a dog rescue story because we all love those. This was out of England. There's a 12-year-old doggie that got trapped 21 feet underground after falling through some kind of a crevice. And 18 rescue workers spent 6 hours digging and digging and digging, getting to this dog. And they formed a human chain to get the doggie up to level ground. And oh my gosh, she was so happy to jump in the arms of her owner when she finally saw the light of day again. But yay for all of those humans that put in all of that effort to save the doggie. Thank you for that. All right, so I had a lot of fun telling these stories. Thank you so much for joining me. Of course, we have Memorial Day coming up this weekend. Big weekend. We almost always consider it the kickoff to summer. I guess we can wear white again. I will never understand that, but okay. I just wanted to let you know, as the wife of a veteran, and I'm putting myself out there because I used to do this too. Happy Memorial Day. Forever, I said Happy Memorial Day because it's a long weekend. Summer's here and we're all happy. So you think, Happy Memorial Day. But it wasn't until I really started paying attention and understanding the world of veterans that I know now that that's not what we say. Happy Veterans Day? Absolutely, because that is the day to honor the veterans. Memorial Day is a really rough day for many, many veterans because it's really all about the people that they've lost, that we've lost, and remembering them in an honorable way, which somehow we've made into burgers and hot dogs. But however you decide to enjoy the day, please do it. But also keep in mind why we have that day off and all of the brave men and women that have sacrificed, the ultimate sacrifice, so we can have the freedom that we all so adore. But I want you to have a great long weekend. And I so appreciate you being here. And I'm already looking forward to chatting with you next week. Bye.